Every sunrise brings another chance. One more page, one more beginning. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just take the next faithful step. Hope is calling, grace is waiting. Your story isn't over yet. This is your next chapter. Your story's just
Hello, friend, and welcome back to the Balanced NP Life. I'm Dr. LaTanya King, and I'm so grateful you're here. Welcome to another episode of the Becoming series. Here on the Balanced NP Life podcast, this is a place where we slow down, have honest conversations, and discover what it truly means to become who God created us to be. Our mission is simple: to encourage your heart, inspire your journey, and support your overall well-being. And remind you that becoming doesn't happen overnight. It happens just one faithful step at a time. Whether you're driving in your car on the way to work, taking a walk, walking your dog, or folding your laundry, or enjoying your morning coffee or evening coffee like I do sometimes, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your day. And now, just for a friendly disclaimer. Before we get started, I want to remind you that this podcast is intended for educational and inspirational purposes only. While I'll occasionally share some health and wellness insights from my experience as a doctor of nursing practice prepared family nurse practitioner, this podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or replace the advice or evaluation of your own personal health care provider. So always consult your physician or another qualified, health professional regarding any individual healthcare needs or concerns. So now that that's out the way, let's take a deep breath, grab your coffee, tea, or good old H2O, and let's continue becoming. Today's conversation is called Finding Peace in the Middle of Uncertainty. If there's one thing we all have in common, it's that life rarely unfolds exactly the way we planned. Sometimes uncertainty looks like just waiting for test results. Sometimes it's just wondering what's next in your career. Or sometimes it's parenting, a relationship. Of course, in our finances, we're just simply wondering, like, Lord, what are you doing? What's next? I've learned that peace doesn't come because everything makes sense, because it won't all the time. It comes because we know the one who holds tomorrow, and that should give us peace for sure. But can I be honest with you? There have been seasons when I desperately wanted answers. I wanted God to show me the entire roadmap. Instead, He's just showed me just what that one next step is. And if I'm honest, I didn't always like that. I don't like that feeling of uncertainty, of not having that closed loop, right? But God kept inviting me and saying, just trust me instead. So looking back now, I can see that He wasn't like withholding His plan. He was and still is just growing my faith. I think about even relocating back home from California, not knowing what the outcome was going to be personally, professionally, just being in that space of unknown. So it definitely took just prayer and one step at a time, right? And compartmentalizing. Now for this week's Becoming Insight. Number one is this: peace isn't the absence of uncertainty. It's the presence of God in the middle of it when you find peace in that. Number two, faith grows in seasons where answers are limited, where you don't know. Number three, you don't have to know the entire path. That's why he said he's a lamp to your feet. You only need enough light for the next step. And now for this week's becoming practice. This week, instead of asking, what will happen next? Ask, what is God asking me to do today? Then faithfully do that one thing. Now for our becoming reflection. Where in your life are you trying to control the outcome instead of trusting God with it? All right, friends, it's time for this week's becoming prescription. You already know the patient is YOU. And this week's diagnosis is this one: anxiety caused by uncertainty. And what are the contributing factors? The contributing factors to this diagnosis is overthinking, fear of the unknown, trying to control tomorrow, forgetting God's faithfulness yesterday. So what's going to be our treatment plan for this? Daily prayer, scripture, gratitude, some deep breathing, and one faithful step. So now I'm going to go ahead and give you the prescription for the week, and that is release what you can't control. Focus on today's assignment and just trust God with tomorrow. And the contraindications, avoid trying to predict every outcome. And I also want you to avoid carrying burdens that belong to God. And you know I got to give you those expected side effects. It's going to be greater peace, better sleep, increased trust, emotional resilience, and good old hope. And guess how many refills you can have? Unlimited, right? God's peace is available every single day. And you know I love to leave you with my little provider's note. And that is this, that peace doesn't come from knowing everything. I know that personally. It comes from just trusting the one who does. And that's all we can do. Before we close today, let's answer a few questions from our community. And of course, I always pick 5. And question 1 is, how do I stop worrying about things I can't control? Ask yourself, is there something I can do today? If yes, then do it. Take that step. If no, pray, release that thing, and just trust God with what comes next. That's all we can do. All right. Question 2. How do I hear God's voice during uncertain seasons? Spend time with Him consistently. Often His guidance, it becomes clearer as we walk just faithfully, not all at once before we begin, right? All right. Question 3. What if I make the wrong decisions? Oh, guys, that's a good one. Most decisions aren't about finding the perfect path. They're about just being faithful and taking that next right step and just remaining open to God's direction along the way. He's going to lead us, right? He will. All right. And question 4, how do I find peace when life feels out of control? Just come back to what is true. God is still present. God is still faithful, and He's still working. Even when we can't see it, He is still working in the background. All right, and for that last question, what scripture encourages you during uncertain seasons? One that has encouraged me is Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Now for your weekly affirmations. Repeat after me, or just say them quietly to yourself. I choose faith over fear. I trust God's timing. I release what I cannot control. I receive God's peace. I take one faithful step at a time. I am becoming. Friend, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I never take it for granted that you choose to invite me into your day. My prayer is that today's conversation reminds you that peace isn't found in having all the answers. It's found in trusting the one who does. If today's episode encouraged you, I hope you'll share it with someone who may need this reminder. I'd also love to stay connected with you throughout the week. You can find me on social media at Dr. LaTanya King, where I share faith, wellness, encouragement, and just practical inspiration to help you live with purpose. And I hope you'll join me next week as we continue the Becoming series, where together we'll continue learning what it means to walk by faith, embrace God's timing, and keep becoming. And you can also join me every morning in Morning Grace. Until then, keep choosing progress over perfection, faith over fear, and purpose over pressure. Until next time, walk in purpose, choose hope, keep becoming. Peace and blessings. I'm Dr. LaTanya King, and this has been the Balanced NP Life Podcast.
Every sunrise brings another chance. One more page, one more beginning. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just take the next faithful step. Hope is calling, grace is waiting. Your story isn't over.